Mexico today is one of the most vibrant and culturally rich countries in the world. Known for its stunning landscapes, distinctive art, flavorful cuisine, and warm hospitality, it consistently ranks among the most visited destinations globally. This cultural richness, however, is the result of centuries of transformation, political, social, and economic, many of which were deeply turbulent and still leave their mark today. Like much of Latin America, Mexico's identity was shaped by the encounter between the Old World and the New. When Spanish explorers arrived in the 16th century, they triggered one of the greatest exchanges of people, ideas, and resources in human history.
Over time, these interactions, combined with internal sangharsh, gave rise to the Mexico we recognize today.
The Universe documentary presents the history of Mexico. Long before European arrival, the land that is now Mexico was home to some of the earliest civilizations in the Americas. The first humans likely arrived between 26,000 and 19,000 years ago, crossing a land bridge that once connected Asia to North America. Over thousands of years, these populations spread southward and developed advanced societies in a region known as Mesoamerica. By around 2000 BCE, early agricultural communities had emerged. One of the first major civilizations was the Olmec, who lived in present-day Veracruz and Tabasco. Famous for their massive stone head sculptures, they laid the cultural foundations for later societies. Following their decline, new powers rose. One of the most impressive was Teotihuacan, a massive city in central Mexico that, at its height, housed over 100,000 people. Its monumental pyramids became symbols of Mesoamerican architecture. Around the same time, the Maya civilization flourished in southeastern Mexico and Central America, developing writing systems, calendars, and advanced knowledge of astronomy and mathematics. Over time, however, many of these great cities declined due to internal conflict, environmental pressures, or other unknown factors. In their place, new groups emerged, including the Toltecs. Eventually, the most dominant power would be the Aztecs. The Aztec Empire was centered around Tenochtitlan, a remarkable city built on a lake and connected by causeways. Founded in 1325, it grew into a vast urban center with a population of around 200,000. The Aztecs controlled a large empire across central Mexico, extracting tribute and wealth from conquered peoples. Everything changed in 1519 when Spanish forces led by Hernán Cortés arrived. With a relatively small number of soldiers but support from local groups who opposed Aztec rule, Cortés marched inland. By 1521, Tenochtitlan had fallen, and the Aztec Empire collapsed. The Spanish rebuilt the city as Mexico City, making it the capital of New Spain. Español rule brought sweeping changes. Indigenous populations were convertidos a cristianidad, y sistemas como encomienda forzaron muchos en labor. Diseases such as smallpox devastated native communities, killing millions who had no immunity. Despite conquest, indigenous and Spanish cultures blended over time. This fusion created many defining aspects of Mexican identity, from traditions and cuisine to religious practices like Dia de los Muertos. New Spain expanded significantly, stretching into what is now the southwestern United States and Central America. Wealth from silver mining became the backbone of the colonial economy, attracting settlers and strengthening Spain's global power. However, society was deeply divided. A rigid class system placed Spanish-born elites at the top, followed by locally born Spaniards, mixed-race populations, and indigenous peoples. These inequalities fueled resentment. By the early 19th century, inspired by revolutions elsewhere and triggered by instability in Spain, Mexico moved toward independence. In 1810, a revolt led by Miguel Hidalgo began a long Sanghas. After years of fighting, independence was achieved in 1821. Mexico initially became an empire, but soon transitioned into a republic. The following decades were marked by political instability, leadership Sanghas, and territorial losses, including Texas and vast northern lands to the United States after war in the 1840s. Internal divisions continued, leading to civil wars and even foreign intervention. In the 1860s, France briefly installed a monarchy under Maximilian I, but it collapsed within a few years, restoring the republic. Later, under Porfirio Diaz, Mexico experienced modernization and economic growth, but also inequality and authoritarian rule. This eventually sparked the Mexican Revolution in 1910, a major Sanghas involving figures like Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa. After years of violence, a new political order emerged. In the 20th century, Mexico gradually stabilized. The Institutional Revolutionary Party dominated politics for decades, overseeing industrial growth and economic expansion, especially during the period known as the Mexican Miracle. In more recent times, Mexico has opened its economy, strengthened international ties, and evolved politically. While challenges remain, such as economic inequality and organized crime, the country has moved far beyond its revolutionary past. Today, Mexico stands as a nation shaped by ancient civilizations, colonial encounters, Sanghas, and resilience. Its history lives on in its culture, traditions, and people, who continue to celebrate life with energy and pride.